Hey, it's Tom from Tom's Toons, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to install the on-off battery switch from pontoonstuff.com. Let's get to work on it. If you've had a problem in the past of phantom draws, you come back to your boat, everything's turned off to your knowledge, but your battery's dead, or you've had a history of leaving some lights on and forgetting about it, and then you come back and your battery's dead. Well, this is a good solution for that problem if you've had that issue in the past. This is a simple on-off switch. When I leave my boat and I don't want any power to be hooked up whatsoever, I'm gonna kill all power by changing it to the off position. When I get back on the boat and I wanna make sure that my battery hasn't drained down, as long as you got a good solid battery on your boat, I'm just gonna turn it to on, and I'm gonna supply power to all of the things on my boat, including my switch panel and accessories and my outboard or inboard if you're running an inboard. Let's look at how this works. In the off position, this is simply going to break the transfer of power from the battery to your accessories and your engine. The way it does that is we have a battery post, so our battery is going to run a power line to this, or power cable. I'll show you that in a second. And then I'm going to run my outboard or inboard engine battery cable on here, as well as my other accessory items, the powers for those. The grounds will go to the battery. I'm going to show you that in just a second. So all this is doing is creating an interruption between my power coming from the battery and the power going to those accessories. When we break that, we interrupt it, there's no way my battery can drain down, nothing can pull power. In the kit you're gonna get with your switch is a heavy gauge red wire. This is a power wire. This is gonna be the wire that goes from your battery to your switch. So let's get to work on that. We're gonna start at the switch. On the back side, on this, when you're looking at the back, the right hand post is labeled battery, and the left hand is feeder, meaning it's gonna feed power out to your accessories. We're gonna take off the nut and lock washer on both of those. And I'm gonna install, I have a power cable that came with your switch. You're gonna put the end, has a cover, this will go to the battery. This side is gonna go to my switch to the battery post. The neat thing about this switch is I could feed my wires directly up from the bottom. I can feed them in from the side. Whatever works best for you in terms of where your wires are coming from and going to. We'll tighten that down with a wrench to get it secure and make sure that my lock washer is crushed down and not moving. On my feeder side, my feeder post, this is going to represent my battery cable from the outboard. I'm gonna put that on first. I wanna put that on first because I wanna make sure that that's getting full power from the battery. I don't wanna put anything in between and create any sort of drop in power. Then I can stack on my accessory harness. This is the harness from pontoonstuff.com. I'm gonna stack on the power for that. And that's all I have for my accessories at this point. If you've wired in something else that's not related to the accessory harness and the switch panel, you could add the power here as well. But you'll notice it's only red wires, it's only power wires, no grounds have been attached yet. And in fact, no grounds are going to be anywhere near the switch itself. It's only power wires. We'll tighten that down with a wrench too before we're all done. So my switch is essentially done in this position. I could now install it to the railing of my boat, to the deck of the boat. We're just gonna put a screw in right here. With that secure, the nice thing about this switch is those posts can't come in contact with anything. I like to try to put them on something that's got a backing. I wanna keep anything from arcing across. So it's a good idea if you have a piece of marine plastic, you could put that behind it as well, or into a seat base is a great option because that plastic isn't going to conduct the electricity. For my battery cable, for my motor, I've got a ground wire, and then for my accessory harness, I have a ground wire here as well. So I could take those to a bus bar or a negative bus bar and run a thicker gauge wire to the bus bar, but I don't need to. I can just connect these simply right to my battery. We'll go with the outboard ground first, and then we'll put on our accessory. Always tighten those battery connections with a wrench, and if you have a wing nut on there, I highly recommend swapping it over to a stainless nut, or worst case, make sure you tighten that wing nut with pliers, make sure it's really solid. Then the last thing I need to do to complete this setup is connect my power wire that came with the switch to the positive side of the battery. Again, we'll tighten that down with a wrench before it would be going on the boat and out on the water. Put my cover over top. Now my battery switch is set up. I have power running into the switch, and then my switch being in the off position is breaking that current or breaking that transfer of power, so everything is off. When I flip my switch to the on position, I'm gonna go ahead and bridge that gap. Now I have power going to my outboard or my inboard, my engine, and I have power going to the accessory harness at the console. So my lights are on. The way this works, if I turn this off, all the power goes off, back on. So at the end of the day, the last thing I need to do before I get off the boat is turn it to the off position. Huge important piece here. It says it right on the switch, stop engine before switching off. If you've got this on and your engine is running, you have power on most outboards feeding through the switch into your battery to charge your battery. If you turn this off, the power has nowhere to go. You are going to cause damage to your motor. So do not, under any circumstance, change it to off when the engine is running. Always do this when the engine is off and you're leaving the boat for the day. That is how to install this on-off battery switch from pontoonstuff.com. Comes with everything you need. It's a pretty simple, quick setup to get it on your boat and get that extra assurance that you're not going to fry your battery from something draining it down. Remember that you can use Tom's Toons as your promo code at checkout to save 5% on items like this battery switch or your entire restoration project. Saves you some money, gives us a little kickback, helps everybody out. Thanks for watching.